Okay, new lighting, new background, new setup, new country. I just moved to Mexico last week. I've been living in Mexico City for like 8 days now or something. So that's why I haven't been posting much content. I always have a good excuse for you guys when I don't post a lot of content. I need to just stop making excuses and just do it. So I've been working at Microsoft for 2 years, and I just became a software engineer too, for anyone that doesn't know. Let me just get into it. What I wanted to talk about today was kind of the story I had when I applied to Microsoft, how I got into the company, what the interview process was like, just because I think there's a lot of mystery around it, right? And just hearing the story, I know I found one or two people that told me their story when I was in the application process, and it just, you fear the unknown, and just hearing it made me feel better for some reason. So anyway, I'm going to recount my story here. Also, I should do a channel intro. My name is Jason Goodison. This is my channel. This is every tip I wish I knew. If you get value at any point during this video, please hit the like button, because that actually helps the algorithm. Blah, 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 who cares, right? And also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content. And if you don't, well, hit the YouTube icon and go back to your home screen. Today, so I applied to Microsoft about 2 years ago. I believe it was 2018. I was working in a company called Toast, which I've talked about multiple times on this channel before. Actually, they IPO'd last week for like $20+ billion. Fun fact. Anyway, I was working there at the time. They were much smaller. And I was working in Dublin, actually. And so I had a friend that applied to Microsoft, and he got in. And I remember thinking that I wasn't smart enough for Microsoft, but this friend that had applied, I'd worked with him at previous jobs, at a previous internship, and I was like, he's smart, but he's not like significantly smarter than me. So why don't I try my luck? So I asked him, like, where did you apply? He said careers.microsoft.com or something like that. And so I went on it, and I found the student posting. They have a special posting for people that are graduating. And I applied through there with a resume that you can see in one of my videos. I have a video where I show the exact resume I used. So check that out on my channel. Maybe I'll put a link here if I can find it. I think it might have taken them a week or two to get back to me after I applied. Then they said they wanted to set up a phone screen. The time difference was weird because it's like an 8-hour difference, but I had the phone screen. Now the phone screen is interesting because the phone screen round, right? It's not done by somebody technical, because I remember in particular they asked me one question. They said something like, tell me about a time when you solved a technical problem, and like, just tell me about the technical problem. You hear a question like that and you go, okay, like, that's a pretty broad question. So what I dove into was telling them about a time where there was this bug in production and I had to solve the bug. Because it's like, crunch time, customers are upset, we're losing money. I decided to tell that story. But halfway through, he asked me and I responded, and then he said, okay, like, what technologies did you use to solve that problem? Like, what do you mean? Like, it was a bug. And then, it kind of went on, like, how did you design the solution? Dude, it was a bug. Like, oh my God, I didn't realize that this was going to be like, I didn't realize this question required a project. And it was clear to me that the person on the other end of the phone just had a list of questions in front of them they were asking, because if I start telling you about a bug and you need to hear about a project, you're going to say, oh, like, that's interesting, but we're actually kind of looking for more of like a design through implementation thing. We're not looking to hear about bugs. You know what I mean? So I had to stop him and go, like, can we start this line of questioning over? Because my example doesn't work. It doesn't fit the framework. So anyway, that was fine. We went back, we went through the questions. There were some interesting questions on there. I won't give away the exact question, but there was stuff like, how would you explain concept X to like a 5-year-old or something like that. So you kind of had to, I think what they were looking for is people that can communicate well and explain technical concepts. And so they asked about a few projects, they asked about my resume, and they asked that question I just gave you. It's not a very technical question, right? So the phone screen, it's, not even face-to-face, it was just a phone. It was a phone screen, as you could imagine. Fast forward about 2 weeks, right? Hadn't heard anything. 2 weeks pass. Then they sent me an email and said, you passed the phone screen. We are looking to set up a date for you to come in, do the on-site. Now the on-site's going to be a little different nowadays because of COVID. It's going to be set up the same way. You're just not going to be on-site, right? But anyway, I was working in Ireland and they flew me out to Seattle. Now, flight was like 14 hours or something. Like, it was crazy. I had to stop over in New York and then I had to fly to Seattle, and I was jet lagged as hell because it was an 8-hour time difference. And then the day of the actual interview, I realized I didn't have any dress socks. I had to cut one of my socks up and put my foot through one of my socks just so that my socks were high enough that I didn't look stupid. It was ridiculous. But anyway, so I got there. I basically just slept because I was so tired. I slept right up until like 4 o'clock in the morning. The interview starts, I believe, at 8 a.m. So I was kind of nervous. I was up at 4 because of the jet lag. I just took it easy. I, relaxed. I had something to eat. I worked out a little bit. Then I went to the interview. And so here's what happens. You go to an interview. There's like probably 30 to 60 people, okay? What they'll say to you when you show up is, first they'll check you in. They'll give you the badge, whatnot. Then what they'll say to you is like, you guys are not competing against each other. Basically, there's just a bar, and you need to be better than that bar, right? And then we'll hire you. Microsoft has so much churn as a company because it's so big that they're not worried. They're not hiring for individual positions. They know that there's eventually going to be enough people that leave that no matter how many people they hire, like it's good for them. They're going to need them. You're not competing against those 60 people, but you are going to continue to see these people throughout your entire time interviewing at Microsoft. You can't share the questions, obviously. So basically, what'll happen is you wait in the room. Somebody comes out, calls your name. You follow them into one of the interview rooms. They're these small rooms, maybe 6 by 6 feet. Like, they're pretty small. It's just enough room for one desk. Then they've got a whiteboard, and generally the first 5 minutes, they're gonna just kind of chat with you, get to know you. And then they are going to ask you some questions about your resume, some questions maybe about the projects you've done. Those are kind of more behavioral questions, not as technical, just kind of trying to figure out who you are, what you've worked on, what motivates you. And then they do ask a technical question. And the technical question, I feel is most likely to be something kind of about binary trees or kind of lists, some kind of list or string manipulation. Although I did have one question that was like a prefix tree, like tries. I can't believe I got asked a question like that. I literally was when he asked it, I was like, this is dumb. Nobody uses these things. And now that I've worked at Microsoft for 2 years, I'm like, we definitely do not use these things, at least in my job. So anyway, you do 4, you go back to the room, or you do 1, you go back to the room, another, back to the room, blah, blah, blah. Keep doing it. Then when you finish, they give you a sweater. They give you, I believe they give you a free lunch card or something, so you can go buy lunch for free at the cafeteria on Microsoft campus. And then they also give you a $200, basically what I wanted to say, it's a $200 gift card to the Microsoft store, but it's not. It's something really weird. You really do have to be spending money to get the $200 off. But anyway, point is, and I don't know if you can, I don't think you can use it on software. But anyway, there's a Microsoft store on campus, and they give you some kind of promotion for it. 3 weeks, let's call it, after I did that on-site, obviously flew back to Ireland, continued to work there. I got an email one day that just said, congratulations, here's a link with your offer letter. And I checked the offer letter, and then they set me up with a recruiter where I could ask the recruiter questions, and I should have probably negotiated a little bit. I didn't. I was so excited. I just signed it. But if I were you, I would negotiate with that recruiter, right? That's the time to do it. I did this application in October or September of 2019 or 2018, and then I actually started in August of 2019. Make sure to be on top of applications around September, because that's when all these big companies do it, and they're hiring for almost a year out. So thumbs up if you liked this video. Subscribe if you loved it.